Well, there were two key reasons for the Help to Buy equity share second charge scheme. One clearly was to encourage more new build properties, and the second was to help predominantly first-time buyers, although the scheme is not limited to first-time buyers. 80% of purchasers are first-time buyers. What's happened in practice is that it has been very successful in stimulating more house building, although in the last quarter actually new house sales went down. But the people who've been using the scheme, in general, I think are people who would have otherwise bought a property but bought a cheaper property. Because if one looks at the average purchase price using the scheme, it's about 50% higher than the average purchase price of people getting a normal 95% mortgage. So people have been jumping over what would have normally been their first purchase. And for the buyer, I think that's really good because they can live in a nicer property or in a nicer area. It means they don't have the cost and hassle of their first move. It's been great for builders because they've actually been able to price their property at a bit of a premium to what they would otherwise got because of the cheaper affordability. But it does, of course, have some unintended consequences. And I think the government is probably desperate to try and mitigate their ongoing involvement in Help to Buy, because at the moment it is due to expire in 2021. And bearing in mind the very long lead time for developers in terms of buying land, getting planning permission and building, actually a lead time of 2.5 years, which is all they've got now, is much too short. What I think the government should do at this stage, because I think they do still need to stimulate new house building, is to actually phase the scheme down. When the scheme was introduced, the basis was 5% deposit, 20% loan from the government and a 75% loan to value mortgage. Subsequently, they've introduced a 40% loan from the government within Greater London. Back in 2013, when it was introduced, that was probably the right decision in terms of loan to values. The mortgage market is now much better, and whereas getting a mortgage above 75% was more challenging back then, now actually the premium you have to pay to get an 85% mortgage is much smaller. So in my view, what the government should do would be to extend the scheme for another couple of years, but reduce the amount of the government borrowing, the government lending to 10%. That would clearly mean the government is lending a lot less money, but it also would be a good way of phasing out the scheme rather than a cliff edge of dropping it.